The Acer Swift 16AI is Acer's new premium 16-inch thin and light laptop. It is one of the first reasonably priced laptops that we've seen with one of Intel's new Panther Lake X chips. That's the one with a powerful integrated GPU that you can do some solid gaming on and even a bit of creator work like video editing. This laptop is super thin and very light for its large 16-inch display. It has a massive haptic trackpad that you can actually draw on, and it never feels warm to the touch no matter what you do on it. Now, on the flip side, it does have a couple of issues that you need to be aware of before buying one. On occasion, there is some palm rejection problems from its large haptic trackpad. If you use your laptop in a quiet space, at times you will hear some fan noise, even on its silent mode. And its chassis, it just isn't as solidly constructed as more expensive laptops. But on that last one, given how light this laptop is, that is a little par for the course. Anyway, if those issues don't bother you, you're getting a lot of laptop for your money here with the Swift, especially when it goes on sale. And on that note, check out our website bestlaptop.deals. It's over there that you can find a price tracker that tracks prices right across retailers, so you know if a laptop's current price is actually a good one. Or just click the link below. And with that said, here's our review. The laptop itself feels built well. You can see that the lid, it has minimal flex. It's not as solid as a MacBook or say an XPS. For example, there is some flex to the bottom part of the laptop. But the Swift, it is very light, particularly when you consider its large 16-inch display. This makes this laptop just a joy to carry around. The screen's hinge, it is sturdy enough, it didn't fall back even when we were tapping on the touchscreen. And the laptop, it is very slim, so I didn't have any issues with its edge biting into my wrist. In fact, Seth specifically said this is the nicest Acer laptop he's ever used. Even premium Acers, you see guys, they tend to feel cheap, that's when compared to the competition. As you can see, we do have the silver model with a silver trim. The Swift 16 that will be sold in the USA, it actually comes with a darker grey colour with some gold highlights. Regardless, all the models come with a carrying sleeve included. Our early stage unit, it didn't, otherwise obviously we'd show you. The display is stunning. It's a high-resolution 2880 by 1800 OLED panel. This makes text just look really crisp, and because it's an OLED, content looks very vivid with inky blacks. We measured over 400 nits for SDR content that's in brightness, and the color gamut was pretty much perfect. It's a fast refresh rate panel up to 120 Hz, but it can lower its refresh rate down to 48 to conserve battery. The only nit that I do have with the display, excuse that pun, is that it is quite glossy. In my office, the screen's brightness, it did pretty much compensate for this, but if you plan to use your laptop in, say, a really bright environment, that's with some direct sunlight, this just isn't the laptop to get. Finally, a couple of good points here. Unlike a lot of OLED panels that I've tested, this one did not exhibit a noticeable screen door effect. That's when you're looking at white content and you see these colored pixels peeping through. It really wasn't very bad here. I also didn't detect PWM flickering used to lower the brightness, again, really good. Now, outside the USA, there will be some Swifts available with a lower resolution 1920 by 1200 OLED display. I don't like this. I really think 1920 by 1200, too few pixels spread across a large 16-inch panel. Small text, guys, is just going to look a little fuzzy. The keyboard is totally good enough. If anything, the key press feels a little low travel and ever so slightly mushy. The mushiness probably due to the slight keyboard deck flex. As I said, I wouldn't go as far as calling this keyboard uncomfortable, it's perfectly usable. What adds to this is the nice spacing between the keys. I rarely had any mispresses on this keyboard. It does have a small number pad to the right side, so the keyboard is off-center from the trackpad. Whether you like this or not, it is up to you. I personally don't use a number pad, so I prefer a centered keyboard. You do get a multi-stage backlight, which gets nice and bright, but it doesn't have an ambient light sensor, so you'll have to change it manually. Not the biggest issue, guys, as there is nice contrast between the key characters and the color of the backlight, so you can pretty much just leave the backlight on low the whole time. One of the most noticeable things about this laptop, though, is the absolutely massive haptic touchpad. It supports MPP 2.5 styluses. The aim is for people to take notes on it, or for artists to be able to use it to draw on versus buying a separate Wacom tablet. The tracking on the trackpad itself, it felt very accurate and natural, and the click felt really good. Not too hard and not too soft. Honestly, as natural as a MacBook's. But Windows laptops with large trackpads, they are notorious for having bad palm rejection. And unfortunately, there is a bit of that here. This is where your cursor suddenly jumps to a place you don't intend it. Both Seth and Sierra, they really struggled with this. For me, it only happened occasionally, but it did happen. That being said, if this happens to you, hit that disabled touchpad key and just use a mouse. Hopefully Acer can improve the palm rejection in the future. It's certainly possible, as it doesn't happen on the MacBook Pro 16's really large touchpad. Now, before we leave the trackpad, I do want to add this. I tried my Logitech mouse with this laptop and all hell broke loose. The Logitech services had a massive memory leak that just ground the laptop to a halt. After a bit of digging, I uninstalled Logitech's G-Hub software, and in Windows services, I disabled this Logitech service called Lamp Array Translation Service. After this, my mouse still worked totally fine and the issue went away. Not really an Acer thing, but hopefully it helps somebody. Ports on this laptop are pretty decent. On the left side, two USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports that support charging, a USB-A port and an HDMI 2.1 port. On the right side, another USB-A port, a headphone mic combo jack and a micro SD card reader. My only real nit is that it would have been convenient to have a charging capable port on either side. Alright, let's talk performance. We've now had several laptops in with Intel's high-end 16-core Panther Lake X chips, and out of all of them, the Swift's performance is the best, at least for CPU-only tasks. In Geekbench 6, which tests a variety of common performance tasks, it's a little behind the XPS 16 and the ExpertBook Ultra, but realistically, this is a rounding error in terms of their difference. However, it's in Cinebench that really shows how much better the Swift performs. Cinebench, you see, tests the CPU maxed out, Geekbench does not. Here we can see the Swift 16 pull significantly ahead of the XPS 16 and the ExpertBook Ultra. In fact, the only laptop that beats it are larger gaming laptops and the MacBook Pro with a Pro Series chip. To try to see why this laptop is performing so much better than the others with the same processor, we ran Cinebench on a loop for 10 minutes. During this time, you can see that the Swift was able to draw an average of 51 watts of power. That is 5 watts higher than Asus's ExpertBook Ultra and way higher than Dell's XPS 16. In fact, it's actually higher than what Intel lists as the chip's max sustained power draw, which is 45 watts. This means the Swift is able to maintain the chip's boost speed for longer. Now, taking a look at core temperatures, you can see how Acer are achieving this. They're letting the CPU sit at 95 Celsius, significantly hotter than the XPS 16 75 and the ExpertBook Ultra's 83. The big question that I have is, does this make the Swift feel uncomfortably warm to actually use? Surprisingly, it doesn't. The Swift 16 feels cooler to the touch than the XPS 16 and way cooler than Asus's ExpertBook Ultra. Unfortunately though, the fans are loud during this time, almost gaming laptop loud. Now, Acer gives you several different performance modes to try. We use the high stock performance mode for all our tests that we've shown you thus far. You can see that dropping down to balance mode, it significantly drops power fed to the CPU. This obviously lowers performance and massively reduces fan noise. That being said, the keyboard does feel a smidge warmer. Now, these results were all done during Cinebench, a very intensive task as I've already said. In just regular light use like writing the script for this video, the laptop was mostly silent. Occasionally in my quiet office I could hear the fans come on. They weren't super loud, but I could definitely hear them, and the sound they made, it was high-pitched, so it is a little more noticeable. And certainly if you do anything intensive like you're installing a program, you will hear them going. Now, I don't want to completely scare you. I'd say on the scale of 1 to bad fan noise, with 10 being the worst, these are about a 4. That being said, if you are like me, you use your laptop in a quiet space and you are sensitive to fan noise, this is probably not the laptop to get. Alright, we haven't talked about graphics performance, so let's do that. Intel's X chips, like the one in this laptop, come with a powerful B390 integrated GPU. In TimeSpy, the Swift actually fell behind the ExpertBook Ultra with the same chip, which kind of surprised us given what I already showed you. In Still Nomad Lite, which enables us to compare to MacBooks, it pretty much ties with the MacBook Pro with M5, and it is again behind the ExpertBook Ultra. Look, compared to the integrated GPU in older Lunar Lake laptops, this one is much better, but it doesn't compete with a mid-range NVIDIA GPU like an RTX 5060. By the way, if you want to see how this GPU performs in a bunch of the most popular games out there, we've already done a video on that, which I will link down below. For video editors, we tried Puget's Premiere Pro benchmark. Once again, this laptop fell behind the ExpertBook Ultra, which has the same processor. In fact, it now ties with the XPS 16, which only feeds its processor 35 watts sustained power. This again obviously surprised us. Perhaps Acer just aren't feeding the integrated GPU enough power here. Now, in DaVinci Resolve, it's a similar story. Alright, stepping back from the benchmarks, this laptop is going to give you plenty of performance for things like programming, and it has you covered for esports titles, and even playing some modern AAA games. That's if you turn down those settings. And it also has enough performance for some basic creator workloads, but nothing more. To test battery life, we ran our new, more intensive battery test, screen only lowered to 300 nits with office tasks running on repeat. This laptop lasted for almost 9 hours, pretty much tying with the ExpertBook Ultra, which has the same processor and battery size. But props to Acer, this laptop has a larger screen to power. The XPS continues to be our battery life champ with these Panther Lake processors. The XPS 16 lasted an additional hour and a half on battery. Now, on the graph, you'll see that our winner here is actually a laptop with a Lunar Lake processor from last year. This really highlights something important. If you don't need the performance of one of these new Core Ultra Series 3 H chips, say you're just doing basic web browsing, checking emails, that sort of thing, working on Microsoft Word, you can just get a laptop from last year with Lunar Lake and you'll likely save some money. Let's round out the review. The speakers, they produce sound, they are far from the loudest we've heard, they're not the clearest laptop speakers we've heard, and the sound, it just doesn't sound lively and dynamic. Take a listen. Here's what the webcam looks and sounds like on the Acer Swift 16AI. I'm not going to call it AI at all, it's a really embarrassing name. Anyway, it's not a strong suit of the laptop, I feel. It is a 1081 and there is a physical privacy shutter and Windows Hello facial recognition to get you logged in fast. And here's what I look like in dimmer lighting conditions without our studio lights on, just the house lights. This is clearly where Acer has cheaped out on this laptop. Alright guys, I was watching this in the edit. I did want to come back and say one more thing around the webcam. Acer has this included software called Purified View. Nothing is going to save this webcam. It's got this mode called Portrait Refinement. As you can see, I look much worse. Glasses reflection, which is meant to remove reflections in the glasses, doesn't work at all. Avatar turns me into an avatar. Super sharp. Again, I look worse and now I've got it off. The reason I wanted to hop back on is this really highlights a point here. This software is absolutely gimmicky, as is most included software from manufacturers. It just doesn't work that well. These companies are not software companies. My message to manufacturers is this: stop including this crap in laptops. Buyers are not being tricked by this stuff, and you should be spending that money making your laptop better or making it cheaper. Inside the laptop, the Wi-Fi card is soldered, but it is Wi-Fi 7. The PCIe SSD is replaceable, and it is 5.0. Yay! Now, for Linux, we tried Fedora 43. The speakers didn't work, Bluetooth didn't work, Wi-Fi didn't work. On the flip side, the camera worked, as did display brightness controls and the keyboard backlight. But overall, it didn't work out of the box. Look, I want to say this. We get that the Linux community wants more here, testing different distros, full installs, kernel updates. Now, to make this viable, we've launched a new YouTube and Patreon membership tier. That way, you can directly support our Linux testing if you do want more. The links to those will be down below. All money that we raise obviously will go to support more Linux testing. Well, that's all I got for you. This is a very nice 16-inch super portable laptop, and if its price comes in more affordable than other brands' premium Panther Lake laptops, it's going to be very compelling, so long as you're okay with those two issues that I did talk about: the palm rejection on the haptic trackpad and the fan noise. As always, it will be listed on our website, bestlaptop.deals. That's where we track prices right across retailers. That way, you'll know the answer to the two critical questions. Where should you buy from to get the best deal, and what is the best time to buy so you aren't tricked by fake sale prices? Also, if you don't like this laptop, and let me know with a comment below if you don't, then there will be alternate recommendations there for every type of user. If you like this video, show your support by getting subscribed, something free and easy that you can do, and it really does help grow the channel. Till next time, go do something awesome with your day, and I will catch you later.